right? You have a lot of turnover, possibly. Kelsey may be finished.
Where I'm looking up average life expectancy. I'm dreaming at this point. Like, I can't. I'm done with the season.
What's the next evolution of Pat Mahomes? And it's weird to be talking about a guy like, what's the next evolution of Pat Mahomes, and he's not 30. You could be anywhere doing anything, but you're hanging out with us, and we appreciate that. So wherever you're listening and however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Game Plan Podcast. Alex Goodwin is my name. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. Again, that's on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's T as in tacos, S as in sangria, M as in margaritas. Kennedy Miller could not be here with us today, so I got the big homie Texan Live, broadcasting basketball, football, baseball. I think I saw you doing something with somebody doing the pole vault recently. Texan Live, JT Barrett. What's up, big dog?
Well, you just mentioned Texan Live, but I'm also color commentary for Prairie View A&M basketball, man, and women basketball. I'm also, play-by-play for Prairie View A&M baseball as well. Right.
Man,
So I do it
JT.
all. I do it all.
Hey, man, see, here's the thing, JT. I forgot you got more jobs than a Jamaican, right? Oh, right. You like one of them members of New Edition that's in New Edition, but also Belle Biv DeVoe, but also Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, right? So I don't know which one I should be mentioning at the moment. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm like, forgive me, brother. Forgive me.
Now, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. You know what I mean? Like it's something that working at our alma mater has actually been it's been a dream of mine, and it's come true. It's come to fruition this past season, and so I honestly think that the people in the SWAC they really like what it is that I've been able to bring, and I think I'm gonna have some bigger opportunities as time goes along. As long as I just keep working, baby. I just keep working. I don't stop. You know what I mean? I don't want to bring that guy that's in jail, up. But like Diddy, man, don't stop.
Hey, look, I'm gonna have to bleep that out in post production. Okay. Speaking of jail, we're gonna talk about some people that's in jail in the context of the show. JT, to pop this thing off, man, I said S as in sangria. I probably should have said S as in stressed. Because JT, who do you think is been more stressed over the past couple of weeks? Jaden Ivey's wife and his agent, or Mike Vrabel's wife? Who do you think's been more stressed and possibly upset?
Well, here's the thing, right? I think you forgot out a key name when you talk about um Diana. You forgot Diana Russini husband, right?
Oh,
Because let me
yes,
tell
I
you,
did.
let me tell you, all right, there's nothing more stressful than a husband who is looking at his wife and she is hugging a man who probably looks way more fitter, has more money, has more stature, and more status. You know what I mean? Right?
Yes.
Like Mike Vrabel wife is like, if he leave, like I'm taking half. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
taking half. We good. Diana Russini husband, like, what I'm gonna get? Like,
Half of this athletic money.
you know what I mean? So, like, I think the person that might be the most stressed is Diana Russini husband. Now, this is all speculative, and nothing has been confirmed, and these are just the rumors that are going around. We want to make sure that we cover ourselves here, right? You know what I mean? Cover up like, when you walk into your grandma's house and
I'm
she
like the
got
old
that
church
robe on,
women.
you gotta, yeah, they're gonna cover up. We gotta cover ourselves up here, right? But if we are speaking hypothetically and we just having a little fun, what I mean, if I was Diana Russini's husband, I'd be like, hey man, there's not enough gym sessions in the world that can get me to this point.
Yo, and I think the thing for people who haven't seen it, Diana Russini from Athletics, she used to cover the Tennessee Titans for ESPN when Mike Vrabel was the head coach of the Titans. There was several pictures that have surfaced of them at an adults only resort, hugged up. Is that an appropriate description, JT?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the only type of resorts I go to. I don't know no other resorts. But
Right, but I mean, like they was
yeah.
hugged up. It looked like they was like in.
It so here is the as someone who has some uh friends that are women, right? Sometimes those looks can be a little bit deceiving, but it is a little bit difficult to also explain as well.
Yeah, that you at an adults only
You
resort.
underdig yeah, yeah, but you underdig what I'm saying, right? And then you
Yeah.
kinda get a little bit of if you kinda get a little bit of that little of that look inside of you know what I mean? You're like, "Ah, this person is all fuzzy and warmy," and, so, I mean
Here's what Imma say. I have female friends. I feel like we both have female friends, JT. My wife would tell me I just as many female friends as I have male friends. I think before she met me, that was a bit of a jarring thing to, like, see. But I was like, "Yeah, it's no big deal." So, Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini's original an explanation was they were with a group of 5 or 6 other people. But maybe, again, this is, like, this one single photo decontextualizing, but I ain't seen no other people. And in that photo when they was at that bar, I think it was at the combine, there wasn't no other people there either. Now just maybe, this was one of them like everybody that's like, man, I'm headed out early, and they there just hanging, shooting the breeze till last call. It may be that, right? But I know that's one of those things you like. Just me personally, I would not want to have to explain to my wife because what is making me thinking of. You remember? I don't know, JT. Did you ever see the movie Norbit?
yes, yes, yeah.
So remember when Norbert went out on that when he was dressed like a pimp named Slickback?
Yeah.
And he came back in a Ted Cruz and all them walk-ins like, boy, I'd hate to be you. And then Rasputia threw him through the window. I'm not saying that's gonna happen to Mike Vrabel, right? But I'm saying I'm sure that has to be an uncomfortable conversation. I'm telling you, those other people there, they was right outside the frame. So you don't believe me? We've been together how long? You pictures is what's gonna break up this relationship? Really? This just my friend. I'm telling you, I know that from word.
So here's the thing. So, it's all about how you consume information. So, like, when I talk about Diana Russini, in a sense, like, I actually see her in a different light whenever she's, like, on the Dan Le Batard show, right? Like, she'll
Yeah.
make, like, a weekly or a biweekly appearance on the Dan Le Batard show, and she always is speaking highly of her husband but she's always, saying something about the kids or whatever it is, right? But if people are only consuming one aspect of what it is that what they're seeing or what they're hearing, then you are gonna draw those conclusions, up to what might be going on. And granted, they could be doing something, right? I don't know who the photographer was that really caught them. What I would say is there has not been a single marriage that that hasn't been ruined, by not going to a hotel. Every marriage that if you think about every marriage, look at the Tyler Perry films, right? How right? You look at Tyler Perry films. How does every marriage wind up, ending? It's because somebody was doing some stupid stuff at a goddamn hotel room, right? It's the same thing. It's a resort. So you in a room. If you want to cheat, I'm not giving you professional advice whatsoever. But if this is something that you wanted to do, don't do it at a goddamn hotel. All right? Like that should be the lesson here. When you see things like this happening, you don't do it at a freaking hotel where there are other people involved. It's just like drug dealing, right? You don't go and drug dealing on the street where there are other drug dealers, right? If
Or where
you
you
want to
live.
deal drugs, yeah, or where you live. If you want to go deal drugs, if you want to hand a package off to somebody, the best place to do it is outside of a police station. They don't know what the hell going on. They would never think that you're gonna deal drugs outside of a police station because somebody could just come right outside you have to do the opposite of what the law enforcements are going to think about. So you have to do the opposite of what your spouse is going to think about. And it is not going to a goddamn resort or a hotel in order to cheat.
Nate out here cheating advice. She's on the shelf like indefinitely. until they, dig more into everything that's going on. Because legitimately speaking, I care but so much, or really don't care at all about like if Mike Vrabel is having some extramarital relationship with this woman. But the thing is, like legitimately, what the question really should be is, as this compromise, like if he is having this relationship with this one with Diana Rossini, is this compromising her reporting what she is or is not willing to put out, right? And I just want to point out, Jay, all those like journalism people who were clutching their pearls and losing their minds because Lynn Jones from Jacksonville dared, like, speak affirmations over Liam Cohen, right? And they were clutching their pearls over the sanctity of sports journalism. Where the hell are they now? They quiet as a church mouse. This is kind of like, how when in church, when the pastor talk about all the gay people in the church and all this, whatever, he's shooting, he's talking terrible about gay people, and all of a sudden you find out he got a side child, right? And then everybody's like dead quiet. This is like one of them moments. I want to know where all them people at now, right? Because this is legitimately an issue. When we start talking about objectivity, and that was their whole thing with Lynn Jones was objectivity. But what the hell is this? Right? At minimum, the optics look bad. You know what I'm saying?
So so I have a take on this, and I don't necessarily know if it's gonna. I hope that it lands the right way. I me and you, we went to Prairie View, and we studied journalism. We have degrees in this area. We have practiced this area. Right now, you've gone on, you have done your extra studies. You've got your master's, you've got your PhD. Um, Me, I wasn't doing that, but I'm out here doing, you know. I'm out here doing what it is that I need to do. I'm working in that field. The one thing about journalism is that a lot of it is really subjective, right? That's something that I learned. It is that if it fits a narrative, then you roll with it, and if it does not, then you go against it. I think what Lynn Jones did, and obviously this was a while ago, but I think what Lynn Jones did was show a human aspect. What happens a lot of time is people are so consumed within their work or within trying to get to a place that they forget to be a human. And but I think that it's really important for people to show appreciation, show some gratitude, be a human being, and like be able to say like, coach, like this is your first year. Like, let's give you some grace. Like it's not like he went out and did like, it wasn't like he was out there being Derek Fisher, you know what I mean? Like, if Lynn Jones was talking to Derek Fisher after a year when he coached the Knicks, then I would've been like, "Alright, what we doing here?" You know what I mean? I mean, this guy legitimately, you saw the improvement of the team. Like, people think so negative, and you should think positive. I think Lynn Jones was I commend her for what it is that she did. And you're asking where those same people are. Well, to be honest, they can't come out and really say anything because this could be a defamation lawsuit, right? So they have to be a little bit more patient in order for them to get more information so that they're not being sued for these reasons. But what I will say is this: hit dogs, what they always do, right? Hit dogs will always holler. So if you remember that going into whatever it is that you do, the hit dog's always gonna holler. No matter in what era of life or area of life that you in. All right. If you with someone, if you're not with someone, if you are beefing with a friend, if you're not beefing with a friend, if you're struggling in your career, whatever it might be, if you feel as though you are right, someone is wrong, or if you feel that someone's character is not quite up to the standard, let me tell you what that hit dog gonna do. Ooh,
But at minimum, you could say, yo, the optics of this look very bad. Like at this moment, all you really could say is this looks bad. right? But I don't even hear a whole lot of people saying this looks bad. Like just not even like media people, but also the general public. I feel like everybody else is really focused on like the salacious nature of is a sitting head coach having an extramarital relationship with this woman who they've later figured out was an NFL reporter who used to cover that team, right? I feel like people are much more concerned about that than for me. I'm like, hey, yo, this looks really bad. And like, this could be one of those things that for her could turn into like a giant scandal.
Yeah, I mean, like, things can look really bad, right? Like, I'm not saying that things do not look bad, but, um, uh, when things start to look bad, what most people do is just really kind of look at it instead of digging deeper, right? So, there are always you probably know this saying, right? You have your degree. You probably know this saying. There are always 3 sides to a story, okay? You have this person's side, and then you have the ultimate truth. What a lot of people do is they just look at what might look bad, but ultimately, it might not actually be as bad as it is. The thing is, how will we ever know? It ain't like they about to sit down and take a damn lie detector test. You know
That
what
is
I
true.
mean? Right? So we so we're just forming our opinions around what it is that it looks like. What it looks like, though, does not necessarily have to mean what it is. Now, is it funny? Hell yeah.
Yes.
But but it does not have to mean that it is true. I think what I think it would be hilarious if this is true. Here's what I also think. I also think that these are professionals, and these are people who probably spent a lot of time with each other. And these are people who they probably don't have necessarily feelings that have like for each other, but they probably have feelings that have grown for each other, and that's kind of what you see in that hug. And those are two different things. It but you have to be able to you got to be an adult here. You got to be able to separate those things as well. And I think that's probably where people are probably struggling with. I think it's okay to talk about these issues, make light of these issues, but also say they gonna go home to their husband and their wife and have to try to work this shit out.
Yo, I tell you what, I just saw a tweet from Pablo Torre. He said, Pablo, what are your thoughts on this? And Pablo said, I'm making phone calls. So if
Yeah.
anybody gonna get to the bottom of this right here, oh, it's him. Cause look, if he done, I think he should win a damn Pulitzer Prize for basically tracking down Kawhi Leonard's 30 odd million dollars in brown paper bag money. Okay. Like Kawhi Leonard getting the $30 million extra. Like this is SMU and he's Eric Dickerson, right? If he was able to track all that down, right? Man, listen. If anybody's gonna get down to this, because Pablo by Pablo, simply platonic, right? But
Let me
oh, if
let me
there's something, oh boy,
let me ask you, because I I don't know if you grew up with the show Cheaters, right?
yes.
But but Pablo Torre is like 30 times the any episode of Cheaters that you ever, all right? He's going to figure out every freaking thing around your life. Like if I was as Kevin Samuel would say, a how valued man, right? And I had this relationship and I wanted to know exactly what it is that my wife was doing, right? I would call Pablo Torre and say, "Hey, I got $500,000 for you. I need to know exactly what it is that she doing, what she thinking." Or Pablo Torre gonna come back in a week, put out an episode, and be like, "Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that this relationship is not what it seems to be."
That is exactly his vocal inflection. I ain't gonna lie. Shout out.
Savannah banana.
Hey, hey, yo, JT. We do need to get Pablo Torre on one specific case, right? And that we need to figure out when and where the hell Jaden Ivey got radicalized. Okay,
Man.
because brother, man, I look, this is like me following Jaden Ivy for the last couple of weeks on Instagram has been like that time 4 or 5 years ago where for like a week or two, we gave a shit about what Kwame Brown had to say. It feels very similar to that, where at first I'm watching this for the spectacle of it all. And then midway through, I'm like, why the hell am I here? Right? Like it's very easily turned into that. Cause I was watching the live where he was ranting on the plane and I was sitting there, I was like, hey, yo, I hope this is a short flight. Because I feel bad for whoever is sitting next to him. Like, I hope this is one of them short flights, like from Austin to Dallas, where they don't even where they don't even like really give you peanuts to give you snacks because you only gonna be in the air for
Nope.
30 minutes.
No,
I hope it's one
they
of
not even
those.
they not even passing out drinks on one of those flights whatsoever.
Nah,
Like it's just a short flight. I'll tell you this
flight going
about
up
Jaden.
and down.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Here's the thing about Jaden Ivey, right? I'll go back to our Prairie View days. So I will say that I am a man of a man of faith, or I strive to be a man of faith. All right, you know what I mean. So when you're at Prairie View, like you don't have many options. You know what I mean? Like, the like you have the church against. I think what is that? Church Against Walls or Walls Without
Church
Church
without
that
walls. Church
come.
without walls.
Church Without Walls. They come. They have a bus that pick you up and they take you out into Houston and they come back, or you can go somewhere like either on campus or off campus, and the off campus option is usually Church of God in Christ.
Yes.
Let me let me tell you what Jaden Ivey is out here doing. He is on his best of Church of God in Christ option right now. Because let me tell you, I went to that church one time. One time. All right. This is when I was like 19, 20 years old. I accepted Christ in 2004, all right, at a Young Life camp. At a Young Life camp, okay? I was at a Young Life camp when I accepted Christ. All right. This is 2010. I go to Church of God in Christ. This is 6 years later. I sat there for an hour and 15 minutes. And when I exited those doors, guess what I felt like? I was ready to go to hell. If you ever been to the if you ever been to the Church of God in Christ at Prairie View, you have felt the same thing. And I want to let you know that you are a victim. All right. This is how Jaden Ivey is reacting. People have to understand. All right. People have to understand that like you have to be able to you want to preach the word of God. You want to preach the word of Christ to people around you, and you want to bring them in closer. What you cannot do is force them in order to come your way. All right, that is not what God is calling you to do. And Jaden Ivey is out here like, yeah, I'm gonna force you. If you don't want to do this, then we can box.
Yo, and here's my thing, right? Because people are saying, well, he got fired for being Christian, expressing his beliefs. Hey, man, you act like a critical mass of the NBA is not Christian, right? It is not that. The fact of the matter is, it wasn't that he just said the one thing about Pride Month. He said 25 or 30 other ridiculous things on those lives that I watched, right? Like, because if you really think about it, who's the most famous, like, devout Christian I can think of in NBA history is AC Green. Okay,
Yes,
AC Green
yes.
played in the league for a long time. AC Green, I think he's married now, or at least I would hope so. He was he was like abstinent until marriage, until his entire time in the league, he did not have like sex with anybody because they weren't his wife, right? And everybody respected that, and everybody was cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Isaac plays for the Magic. Now, on social justice issues, you ask me, he sounds like a moron, right? But devout Christian, he's still over there making Lord knows how much money and not playing particularly well, right? There's a way for you to be a devout Christian and stay in the league. The way to not do that is to be asking reporters and your teammates if they've been fornicating before marriage or if they've been living in sin. That's how you don't do that. Because I'm gonna be real with you. I don't care if you work at Neiman Marcus or Costco or play in the NBA. You can't be asking people that at your job, dog, and think you're gonna keep that job. Like,
No,
that's a HR issue, Playboy. Like, and that's the part I think people are being like completely ridiculous about. In addition to the fact that on one of them lives, did you hear the part where he said Catholicism is a false religion? Did you catch that one?
yeah, man. Like when you start talking about when you start talking about first off, I think it's important to note that there is a difference between being religious and being spiritual, right? And like although both of those things could equal or have a calling to a higher God, right? Those are two different things. And when you are mostly religious, right? You're trying to practice and follow a religion, whether it's Christianity or whether it's Buddhism or whether it's or
Islam.
Baptist or whether it's Islam, right? You're trying to practice that religion. The thing is, that don't make it right? You know what I mean? It's like growing up in a two-parent household, all right? And then you meet somebody who only grew up with either a single mom or a single dad. The way that you grew up because you had two parents in the house, that don't mean the shit was right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you might like you probably thought it was, but that don't mean that it's right. You have to be able to find out what it is that who it is that you want to pray to. Okay? Right? If you want to pray to this God or this God or this God or whatever God it might be, right? Once you figure that out, then you can start to find out what your calling is or what your direction is and where it is that you want to go in life. I think what happened with Jaden Ivey is I think that at some point in time, right, he was hurt and then he got traded. And I think that he is someone who said, I'm gonna go to a higher being. And I think what happened was he decided that, well, God has called me to lead, or God has called me to be a disciple, or God has called me to, bring people into Christ. There's a way to do these things, right? You have different instruments and organizations that bring people together in Christ. Me growing up, I was a part of Young Life and I was a part of like Wildlife and I was a part of like Student Leadership Project and I was a part of these different things that helped me lead to Christ. It wasn't me necessarily just going out on the street and telling people if you
They're going
start
to hell?
drinking the yeah, if you start drinking tonight, you're going to hell. That ain't true. Like people was drinking in the Bible. You know what I mean? Like y- what most people do, especially when they are religious, is they start to go and they look for reasons as to why like they look for arguments that they have and they look for verses that they can to say within the Bible. Like, I'm religious, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. But you didn't you're gossiping. So you're not talking about your gossiping. That's in the Bible, right? You know what I mean? Like that's what happened when people are down to a religion. They start to try to force people in order to do these things. And I'm not saying that's everyone. But Jaden Ivey, what he needed to do was, to me, it seems like he found God at a later age because this
Seems
is
like it.
something that you wouldn't yeah, this is something that you necessarily would do at a younger age where you're trying to bring people over into Christ and things like this. So it seems like when he got hurt and he needed an outlet, he found God at a later age. And then he got traded and he tried to get his people on, but you can't like God never forced himself onto anyone. He just asked, right? He never like, yeah, did he walk the streets? Did he gather people around? Did he show that, hey, I can turn one loaf into many? I can turn these two fish and feed everybody around. Did he show those things? Yes. but he ain't never begged nobody to come and be with
Or ask people, are you living in sin? And like as you mentioned that, it made me think about like Jaden Ivey in the context of people who are looking for a why, right? Like, at least for me, a lot of times I've noticed something. People join like religious organizations in a couple of different places. Sometimes, a lot of times, for some people, it's when they're in college or if they're in prison, right? Because your way hasn't, like, if you're in prison, your way hasn't worked. Or if you're going to college, you're considering new ideas, new things. You're like, this is your first time really outside of the social milieu of your parents, right? So you're trying to figure out a why all of this, right? And so I think for him, career started off doing well. He's had a bit of a downturn. He said he's had some mental health issues. And I think like a strong undercurrent of what this is right now, I think he is having some issues, right? So I don't want to make light of that, right? But because I think he made the point. He was like, well, Anthony Edwards, made some homophobic remarks a year or so ago, and he just got fined, and that was it, right? And it was like, well, that was the only ridiculous thing that guy said that was like, in that realm. You said like 45 things that many people find to be ridiculous and extremely hurtful. Like the part about the Catholics, I ain't gonna front. That's some old like 19th century turn of the turn of the 20th century ass hate, right? Because and the wild part about that is you talking about Catholicism is a fake religion, and your mama is the head coach at Notre Dame, and your mama is a Notre Dame graduate. What? Like that's the part
it.
that's ridiculous. And JT, Chicago is 30% Catholic in the hometown of the current Pope, not a Pope, right? We're talking about the Pope. Yo, dog, people are not just going to stand for you insulting them like this. Hell no. So the Bulls, and I think if Jaden Ivey gets back on his feet and is able to figure some things out, did you also hear the part, JT, where he said the thing about he's had some issues with that knee and his knee was swelling and it went back down and he told the trainers, he was like, Jesus healed my knee. Did you hear about that?
I did, and let me tell you something about that. All right, there are a lot. There are a lot of things that Jesus can fix. There's a lot of things that Jesus can heal. Jesus can heal a heart. Jesus can heal a mind.
Your spirit.
Like you're like your spirit, right? Let me tell you what he can't fix. He can't fix no knee. All right,
He can't fix your
your knee,
meniscus.
your knee, all right, is scientifically up. All right. He can't he cannot like you know what I mean? Like if you overweight and you have diabetes, right? You or you have a chronic disease, is that something that he can fix? Absolutely. But guess what? It's gonna also take work on your end, right? You can't just be overweight and your doctor diagnose you with diabetes and be like, my God got it. Have I been through the fire? Yes, I have. You can't do that. You still gotta the Bible talks about how you still gotta put the work in. All right. If you go down with a knee injury, all right, and doctors, professionals, people who have studied this, all right, for years. Hey, do you hear me? Do you feel me talking? People who have studied this for years, okay? You can't go down with an ACL injury, all right, and be like, my guy healed it in 6 months. That's not how it works. You can't do the same thing. Could you walk in 6 months? Sure. You can't go play basketball though.
Yo,
Like
there are just
God is a miracle worker. But that's just like saying, you know what, Chris Bosh, you got blood clots. I'm gonna go pray to God. And then the very next day saying my blood clots are cured, I'm good to go. That's not how it works.
yeah, look, ain't nobody about to be liable if you go out on the court and pass the hell out and possibly die. Ain't no ain't, ain't nobody trying to do that. Like,
Oh,
that was the part for me where I was like, hey, yo, and I think for the Bulls, my thing was like his contract was up like in 2 days. Like February, April the 12th, his contract was up. They looked at that and they said, we can't go 2 more weeks with this dude. He got to go now. He has to go right now. We can't do no more of him. He got to go time. day. What dollar bill say in the Players Club? Y'all get back.
Yeah.
This ill.
Alex, bro, let me tell you something, dog. I have been fired. All right. I take this. I have been fired from jobs. All right. I do not take that like as a sign that it's like that I was like this terrible ass employee. It just could have been circumstances. It could have been whatever it is. All right. Like I just take those things and stride and move on. All right. But here's the thing, man. Your employee here, you out here talking all of this stuff, and they just sit back and be like, all right, yeah, we gotta let this dude go. Like, man, like, bro, okay, bro, I want you to think about this. Look at what everything that Draymond Green has done in his NBA career. All right, look at what Dennis Rodman has done in his. Dennis Rodman went to Phil Jackson and was like, "Yo, I gotta go to Vegas for 72 hours. How you feeling, man? You gonna let me go?" Right? Like, if you are an asset to a company, they gonna keep your ass around. All right,
Yes.
Imma tell you that. Jaden Ivy, he out here preaching the word. It was like, "Come to Christ," and they was like, "Peace."
And I'm like, brother, man, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Did you see the video of him last week when he was I think I sent him to you, JT. He's doing the street preaching.
Dude, on the street, like, dog,
Yes.
listen, I look, listen, I understand. I and this is why I say I think that he's a new follower, right? Because like these are the type of things like I went to camp one time. Like I remember going to like a camp, like an SYP camp. You know what I mean? And like I was so overjoyed and enthusiastic about the word. And I'm in a room with someone else and I'm sitting here and I'm doing a study guide and I'm writing things down and I'm like, "Come to Christ, man, come to Christ," you know what I mean? Like, that's what those new followers do, but you gotta understand, right? God didn't just walk on the street and be like, "Yo, come here." He built relationships with people in order to bring them in, right? I don't wanna ever discourage anyone from going out on the street and preaching the word of God, like, if it helps someone, it does help someone, but if you want someone to see God through you, it's usually through building a relationship with that person. It's not just by saying, if you go into this bar, you're going to hell.
Because
If
I
you
ain't gonna lie,
go,
that's the
if,
thing. Because that's what he's doing. Because like that's the kind of
yes,
like preaching the word of God he's doing. Because Jay, you've been in New Orleans, you've been on Bourbon Street. There's always one of them people out there hollering at
yes,
people, right?
yes.
That was the vibe he was giving. It reminded me very much of my first year at North Texas doing my PhD. I had some street preachers show up, and I was like, oh, and they sent out like a university mass email. They were like, when hate comes to campus or whatever. I'm like, when hate comes to campus, right? Because JT, we went to Prairie View. We ain't never have no crazy people show up, right? Like we got our own issues at Prairie View with Waller County PD, with some other things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. But we ain't never have to worry about like Richard Spencer or like the Klan pulling up. Like they just weren't doing that because they knew they wasn't gonna have no receptive audience, right? I go to the street preacher protest. I'm like, what's going on, man? And I see them people out there doing more or less what Jaden Ivey was doing, telling homeless people they're going to hell, telling gay people they don't get AIDS and go to hell. One of them dudes went up there and he looked up and he said the most dangerous place in the world is a black woman's womb in the name of the Lord. I promise you. I swear to God. Yeah, bruh. And so I'm like, hey dog, and I will be very frank with you, JT. I wish somebody would try to ask me if I'm living in sin or do I need saving. I tell you what needs saving at this point, brother man, your career. I wish you would. Look, right now you averaging like six points a game. You be trying to lecture me, brother. I mean,
Look,
like if I was a reporter, I wish like I'm not. At a certain point, JT, you get to a certain age, and you ain't gonna let people younger than you try to tell you about relationships or about certain stuff. And you 17, 18 years old. You like, boy, you ain't been nowhere.
You
What you
you ain't
mean?
you ain't you ain't bro, listen, you make all these millions of dollars and you ain't learned nothing. You make all this money, you ain't learned nothing yet, man. I can guarantee you. You think your wife not texting you back? You think that's something? buddy, you ain't even been through. What needed to happen was Jaden Ivey needed to go sit down with one of them OGs. You know what I mean? He needed to go sit down with somebody that was like 50, 60 years old, so they can teach him. So what them old folks say? Let me teach you something.
Let me learn you right. Let
That
me
what
learn you right quick, brother.
yeah, let me yeah, that what he needed, right? But that's what that he ain't got that right now. And look, I am not condemning the man for
Not at all.
learning for learning about I don't wanna condemn him uh for learning about Christ and wanting to go out and preach his word. But there are reasons why people go through school to go and be in the pulpit. There's a reason why people have to go to theology school
To
in
divinity
order to
school.
learn ways yes, like
But you
you
know,
can't you let me tell you exactly what Jaden Ivey is doing. All right. Jaden Ivey is a basketball player who has gone through middle school, high school, college, and now to the NBA to get to the 1% of the 1% in order to be in his profession. Okay. What Jaden Ivey right now is trying to do is say, I'm going to skip middle, high school, and college, and I'm just going to go straight to the pros. I'm going straight to the pulpit, and I'm about to go teach the word. That ain't how life works, baby. Like
I mean,
you need to go.
JT, there are a whole lot of ministers in Church of God in Christ who got a 20-minute PhD. You know
Uh,
that as well as I know that,
and let
JT.
me
There's
tell
a
you,
whole lot of pastors and preachers that are
and they are
doctors.
spotted as frauds. Am I
Yes,
not lying?
you're not. And I think the thing for me is, man, when I was going to get a PhD, somebody texted me and they was like, "You going to get a real PhD or one of them 45-minute Kojic PhD?" Right? Somebody immediately asked me, I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. This is a real PhD where the university website has edu, has .edu at the end, right? This ain't fake, right?" But I think at this point, best of luck to Jaden Ivey. I hope he figures his life out. JT, speaking of foolishness and nonsense, what's more ridiculous to you? This whole thing with a Trick Daddy versus the distinguished women of Alpha Kappa Alpha, Sorority Incorporated, or Pooh Shiesty deciding he's gonna summon the spirit of Suge Knight and pull a gun on Gucci Man.
Look. So when it comes to Trick Daddy, right, in the AKA, that is like me inviting Diddy to a 12-year-old party. All right. Like, why would I ever invite like why would I ever invite P. Diddy to a 12-year-old party? Like, why would they ever think that this man, Trick Daddy, was gonna come in there with all of these women and be different? I mean, like you're asking for trouble when you are in trying like what? Let me I can't even name a rapper that could go to an AKA convention and still like like maybe Chance the Rapper, Lecrae? Like you would have to go get like you would have to go get Lecrae in order to do this. I don't know what rapper.
Here's what's crazy, right? Here's what's crazy. I asked one of my students this week, I was like, she's AKA, said, y'all really, what's up with y'all hiring Trick Daddy? What's up with that, right? And she was like, right? And the funny part was she said at their regional convention a couple of weeks back, they had 50 Cent.
The f-
Right. And I'm like, huh? But at least in my brain, I'm like, yo, their song, I guess the SG Rose recently had Too Short or something like that. Which is like kind of on the Trick Daddy and thing. I'm like, I don't think this would work. But like I can see how 50 Cent could work, JT. Like in the club,
How?
21
He
questions.
has a
Like
song called Candy Shop.
he I don't think he'd do that one, but I'm like, in the club, you can clean that one up, right? You can clean that one up, right? 21 questions, I can see he
You
could
can
clean that one up.
let me ask you a question. You can find me in a club, bottle full of bub, mama, I got what you need.
I know the rest of it, but I'm like, you
How are
about to,
we cleaning this up?
but I'm saying how, because you're saying, I'm like, JT, that's like the clean version. Like, there's a real dirty version of that song. You're like, whoa, he said what? Right? But I'm like, that's the part of this I find to be a bit funny, right? Because
He said, I'm not into having sex. I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug.
yes, he did say that. You know, it's one of
I'm trying
those
to
where
rub this meat on you. That's what he's saying. I'm trying to figure out what it is. How are we cleaning this song up? Right? I want to know.
I guess, look, I guess he was, I guess this went well because we never heard about it. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because I didn't hear about this until my student told me, right? But here's the funny thing about the whole Trick Daddy AKA situation. They had at that same regional conference the next day, they had Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew, and it went great. That's the part that's hilarious. The next day, JT,
There,
they had
there
Luther
is
Campbell.
there is not a single song from Luther Campbell that could like uh,
None.
first off, I didn't even realize that that Trick Daddy had, like, all first off, I don't even realize all the songs Trick Daddy have. I can name 3 Trick Daddy songs, no disrespect to him, right? Maybe 5, maybe 5, but I probably have 3. All right, I know more Luke Campbell songs than I know Trick Daddy songs, and I
Yes.
can tell you right now, every single Luke Campbell song that I know would not make it into that convention. But also, don't they stroll to a Luke Campbell song?
Yes, they do. Well, I get, I don't know if that's like like a regional thing. You know what I'm saying?
Dig it.
I
It
think it's a
might be
regional
because
thing.
every region does have different songs. So that's
They like their
something that I
different
have
things.
learned.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, so maybe it's that, right? I don't know. But I just know in my head, I love a good spectacle, right? I love a good spectacle. I know the idea of seeing somebody put it on Twitter. Somebody was like opening plenary, Bertha Mae Wallace, meeting minutes, Geraldine Johnson, musical selection, Trick Daddy, right? Like that's hilarious. Cause I will tell you, my first initial thought was, I was like, the AKAs. I'm like, where the hell y'all couldn't call Donnell Jones? Where was Joe? Christopher Williams? He ain't doing nothing. Jagged Edge, right? Like Jaheim. I feel like on the list of names, was Trick Daddy the only person that would pick up the phone? Or was everybody else busy? Like, how many people did you call before you got to Trick Daddy? Like, this is what we need Pablo Torre to find out.
Also, what's your budget? Right? Because Trick Daddy can't be that much. Like, what are you spending your budget? Like, they pay a yearly fee. All right, to be a part of the AKA. They have to pay yearly in order to be a part of this thing. So what is your budget like? Were you trying to like Costco shop for like for somebody to come out here and perform? Because that's what you got. That is what you got. You got a budget ass rapper. Okay, who else is there to blame besides the people in charge? Why the you should have fucking they could have invited me and you. And we were like, why you I have listen, I have never in my lifetime thought about having having Drink Daddy come perform at anything ever ever in my life. I've been married. I've never thought about having Trick Daddy come and perform at anything, not a birthday party, not a freaking karaoke night, not at a wedding, not at a convention. Like Trick Daddy is so far on the list of people who I would have come and perform. I'm trying to figure out whoever's in charge needs to be fired.
Hey, bro, and Trick Daddy was not happy because he said, and this is a direct quote, JT, these sedity ass women are out here trying to defamate my character. They're trying to defamate me. And I was like, see, this is what happens when certain people try to use these TI words and they're not TI, right? This is
Bro, like they
exactly what
couldn't
happened.
like they couldn't get E40? Like, I would have rather you invited E40. At least he could have brought the wine. You know what I mean? And everybody could have started getting drunk or whatever it is. Like Trick Daddy of all people? Like,
Yes.
bro, it's 2026. There is nothing that Trick Daddy has put out in the last 20 years that have been relevant. What are we doing? Trick Daddy?
What year did that DJ Khaled joint I'm So Hood come out? Where T-Pain was singing like his life depended on it on the
Oh
hook.
man, what was it?
Because
I'm
Trick Daddy was on
so
that one. He was on that. That was '07. That was '07. So 19 years. That was the last time I think I have thought about Trick Daddy in a musical context. So you are right, JT. You're right. But I think that's the part to me where I'm like, this is almost like having Lil Boosie I saw some, I think it was a year or two ago, somebody had little Boosies at their wedding,
What?
right?
What are we doing?
Like,
You know what Boosie is about. You know he gonna be like, "Put your lips on loud, I'll give you $1,000."
right, like, these are just things I want to know, like, can we find somebody who was actually in attendance? Because all I remember seeing is because again, spectacle, JT, a good spectacle is what I love, right? Because these ain't, I'm like, Trick Daddy could work if these are like the undergrads or something like that, quite possibly, right? But these are women that are our mama's age, right? These are people who, there are small children who call these women Gigi, right? The,
Bro,
there's a whole lot of GGs and grandmas, and there's a whole bunch of that in the joint, right? These are seasoned ladies, right? I don't
I
think
do
Trick Daddy though, like they would have went for Joe or Jaheim or Jagged Edge. Like I said, 50 Cent and Luther Campbell apparently were hits, right? 50 Cent at another regional convention. Trick Daddy, I guess Trick Daddy's where they drew the damn line. Because again, to me, it is insane. You have Trick Daddy day one, Luther Campbell day two. Trick Daddy, people are walking out. Luther Campbell and everybody's had a wonderful time. That's the
uh,
funny part.
but uh, this is about to be very controversial.
We have jobs to keep, sir.
I would have probably rather them invite and hire R. Kelly to come like can come sing than Trick Daddy. What are we?
And that we look what? Look, now that's one thing they were not gonna do.
But what are we doing? I there is listen, there is not a single song in Trick Daddy catalog where it should apply to AKAs, like, at all. I don't understand.
Yo, I think at that point, what they probably should have done was, you know how you should just like ask somebody, hey, yo, let me see your phone. Let's plug you up to the office. You got Bluetooth in here? Like they probably could have done that and been good. Like,
Dude, just hire a DJ.
right. But I mean, even
They
if
could
you
have
didn't want
hired
to
a
do that,
DJ for less money, and they could have spent more money on their alcohol budget, on their food budget. But
that's
you
fair.
asking Trick Daddy to go again, I don't there is not a single occasion in my life where I would have wanted Trick Daddy to be there. Not one. I cannot think of one occasion in my entire life where I would have said, "You know who we need here? Trick Daddy."
Who really set this off real proper?
Yeah, Trick Dad. Come on, man. Like, if you told me, "Hey, what occasion would you like for Uncle Luke to be there?" Like, I probably could come up with an occasion for Uncle Luke to be there. If you ask me,
Probably a couple.
"What occasion would you like for 50 Cent to be there?" I probably actually can come up with an occasion for 50 Cent to be there. If you ask me what occasion would I want Trick Daddy to be at, and I would be I don't know. Like, if I was marrying some girl with, like, 7 kids and I was becoming a stepdaddy, like, there is not another occasion where I don't know what they were thinking. This is a fail on their part. This is on them. This is on them. There is not a single occasion where I want Trick Daddy apart.
I just need somebody to do like one of those oral histories. Because JT, did you see? This is like 10, 12 years ago it came out where someone did an oral history on the 10-year anniversary of the Malice in the Palace. Right? It was on the
Oh,
Ringer. It
I
was on the Ringer. It was on Grantland. It's on Grantland back when they still had Grantland. Right?
oh,
And so
yeah.
I'm like, yo, in like a year or two, we need somebody to do like an oral history from Sister Bernice Jones, right? And Sister Alicia Thompson. We need like an oral history.
Alicia
And
Thompson.
I'm just making
What
up
other
random names.
let's do it. Let's play the game. What other old names can you come up with? Let's see.
Geraldine Jenkins. I'm like, look, we ain't got no more like Mabel Ruth Jacksons no more. We don't make no more Mabels. Right.
Somebody gotta have a Faye in their name, like Sister Alice Faye or something.
Uh, it's always one people always do Betty Jean, right? My grandma Betty Jean. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. to the homie. Right? Like there are certain names you're like, oh yeah, yeah. Your granddaddy was a sharecropper.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Like you hear certain names like, hmm, that's a sharecropping ass name right there. Yeah. Right. But we ain't rolling to and they like the last of the Mohegans. Right? Like they ain't rolling no more Geraldines off the lot no more. Right?
Betty
Like that's a
Mays.
name. Fit nah, we putting that up in the they didn't put that up in the rafters. Gertrude, rafters, dog.
And
And they
bro, they used to, and they always go by their first and their middle name. Like it ain't,
yes.
it's always first and middle name.
Yes. Yes. Like, hey, that is like the old black veiled ministers. They went by first and middle initial too. So somebody would be ED, brother ED Nixon, right?
Yeah,
Or brother
yeah.
RL Johnson, right? At one point, my granny, I guess my mother thought they said I had a great name to be a pastor, right? Because of my initials, right? They were like, I could just see it now. Pastor AI Goodwin of the Mount Bethel Missionary Baptist Tabernacle, right?
Like my old pastor was Willie J. Bolden.
Really, hold on, like James's middle initial or James like JAY.
I don't even know. J was his middle initial. I don't know what it was, but he was always Willie J.
Yo, and these are the husbands of the people who they had Trick Daddy go in there and perform.
Trick
They had
Daddy.
Trick Daddy go in there and perform for these people's wives,
Trick Daddy,
right?
man.
Like, I don't even know if there's much to say about Pooh Shiesty other than even that. Look, he must like them jail spread.
Dude, listen,
He
I
must.
I you know, I think there's a famous man that once said, we don't speak about the gangsters in public. We don't speak about these thugs in public. Listen, let me tell you one thing I'm not gonna do. I ain't gonna speak about the thugs in public. So I'm gonna let you have that one. You know what? If somebody is bold enough in order to stage a kidnapping, like I ain't speaking about them in public at all.
I, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get out of here. This is nothing's more of a welcome to 2026 moment than finding out someone pulled a gun on Gucci Man and lived to tell the tale, right? Because JT, I don't know if a whole lot of people remember fat, lean gut Gucci, right? When Gucci
No.
was pushing people out of moving cars, when Gucci after them BMF dudes, some of Jesus homeboys as well, tried to run up in Gucci's house, and Gucci shot that dude. And then Gucci
Yeah.
proceeded to make. I didn't realize until that Jeezy Gucci verses how many songs he had made about shooting Jeezy's homeboy. Right. All I'm saying is, if you would have tried this with Gucci Mane in '08 or '09, it would have been some slow singing and flower bringing, my brother.
Yeah, buddy, you would have had to feel the wrath of it would have just been like trying Harvin Marison back in the day, you know what I mean? That's it. Yeah, exactly. That's what
Woo,
I'm talking about. We don't speak
woo.
about the thug in public, baby.
Hey, look, and I'm gonna say this about Papa Shiesty, Pooh Shiesty Daddy. Because it was one thing for me to read the indictment. I see Lontrell Williams Jr. Say, okay, that's Pooh Shiesty. And I see Lontrell Williams Sr. I'm like, wait, his pappy?
Yeah,
Right? And then
yeah,
I get to
yeah.
read the indictment, and I'm like, see, not only did you participate in this, you coordinated travel for the 10 YNs from Memphis to Dallas, and then coordinated the travel to put those young men back on the dog because they put them back on the Greyhound bus back to Memphis after all this happened. And I'm thinking in my head, right? A responsible father. What my father would do anytime I've had like irrational thought about doing irrational, ridiculous things. Most times, a responsible parent, forget a responsible father, a responsible parent tries to talk you off the ledge. Be like, hey, you really didn't think about this. Hey, you need to sit, you need to calm down. Your blood pressure can probably go up. You need some water, right? Calm, breathe, this is probably not, hey, you don't want to make decisions like this in the heat of the moment, right? That's not what Papa Shiesty did. Papa
No.
Shiesty clearly was like, yes, this is a good idea, and let me help you, right? Like,
By
not
putting
only
you
did
on
your
a
daddy
Greyhound.
not talk, right? Not only did your daddy not talk you out of this, your daddy said, yes, let's plan a federal kidnapping conspiracy. Right? That's how I know, as somebody put it on Twitter, Pooh Shiesty don't have a daddy. He has an older, he just hangs out.
That is it. You have I don't even wanna call him an OG. You have someone who is not literally teaching you the right way whatsoever. You have someone that is just telling you yes. And let me tell you what the dumbest thing might be in the world, alright? Putting somebody on a goddamn Greyhound bus Because you know what a Greyhound bus does. It doesn't fly, it drives, which means at any fucking point in time that if they see somebody name on a list that has now gotten on a Greyhound bus, they can stop you at any point in time. At least when you flying, you gonna at least get to the down destination and you maybe can get off.
I mean, you
But
might
I
get
can
through the
stop a
terminal.
Greyhound bus from anywhere from Dallas to Memphis. I can stop that at any. What are we doing? A Greyhound bus?
He put
Hey,
them boys
bro,
back, I guess, on the dog. On the dog.
how dumb can we be as criminals? All right. There have been, listen, I am someone who watches true crime documentaries. I listen to Crime Junkies as a podcast. There are people who have gotten away with crimes and they have still never been caught. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm not praising them whatsoever. We go put people on a goddamn Greyhound bus. How stupid can, like, we can't, like, come on, man. What are we doing? People go rent a car. Like Aaron Hernandez was out here in a rental car when he got caught.
And
Why?
he didn't
What
do
are
a good
you
job of this murder either. He did a terrible job. Look, it's
like? We
obvious, like, he was terrible at killing people too.
I like. I am not condoning the behavior whatsoever of anyone who is out here committing crimes. All right, I don't condone that behavior. I want to let that be known. But can we at least think about how it is that we're going to commit these things. Like people put so much planning in, okay, he gonna be at this spot at this time, we're gonna run in there, we're gonna do this. How you gonna get there? How you gonna get away? What's gonna be your story? Like people don't even think about the whole damn thing whatsoever. This is elementary ass shit. Like this is what detectives live for. I already know what you're gonna do. I already know where you at because you ain't smart enough to get past. Like, I mean, like if you're gonna do it, put some goddamn heart into it. You know what I mean? Be Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you gonna do it, be the Kobe Bryant. You don't want to come out here being goddamn Tony Roy.
Jarrett Jack,
God,
because
come
that boy
on.
Pooh Shiesty might be the Jarrett Jack of kidnappings because this is the worst kidnapping I've ever seen. And the
It's terrible.
worst part is, um, one of my homeboys said, when you make somebody sign a contract under duress, legally that contract is unenforceable. So my homeboy said, he said they could have saved themselves a whole lot of time, plane tickets, Greyhound bus tickets, if one of them would have simply done a Google. And I was like, you know what that requires people to do? Read. That's
Th-
what that requires
Bro,
people to do.
you
People
you
don't
make
do
a
that.
you make a lot of money, hire a why don't you have a lawyer on hand in the first place? That should have been when you have money, the first thing that people this is one of three things that people hire when you start to get into a range of having real FU money, okay? I'm reading a book right now where it talks about FU money. One of the first things people do when they have FU money is they go buy a lawyer. All right. They go hire a lawyer to be on retainer at any point in time that they might need them. They also hire an accountant at any point in time that they might need them. Why is it that you don't have a lawyer? Who is in your corner to tell you that you need a lawyer at all points in time? They can't go and tell the police that you're going to do this. They can advise you on what not to do, or if you are going to do this, what it is that you probably want to do. Why don't you have someone smart? Why the thing I respect about LeBron James is that LeBron James was at 18 and he said, "All right, these are my four friends that I have. I'm gonna put you guys all in positions in order to succeed. You need to go learn how to do this. You need to go learn how to do this. You need to go learn how to do this. You need to go learn how to do that." If I ever, at a point in time in my life where I'm making more than $400,000 or $500,000 in like a year in my life, I'm hiring people or I'm telling people you need to go learn how to do this in order so I can pay you this amount of money per year. So if I get in this situation, I know how to get out of this situation. We gotta be smarter right here.
Yo, you're basically doing like what's it called? You smoke crack, don't you? Look at me, boy. That's what that speech just was, JT. You said we gotta be smarter. We need to do X, Y, and Z. Here's what you should do. And I'm gonna tell y'all what y'all should do, listeners of this great podcast. Y'all should check JT Barrett out. Swag TV, PVAMU. What, you did baseball this year?
Yeah. So I did basketball. I'm doing baseball right now. Prairie View's baseball team. A little struggle-ish, but it's all right. You know what I mean? You know, e- come listen to me, right? I'm the one that you want to come listen to. You know what I mean? You can see them, but you want to come listen to me. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then after that, like I'm kind of everywhere. Next year, I think I'm gonna be doing some swag football. Like I think I'm gonna be doing some swag football for sure. I'll be back doing basketball. I'll be doing baseball as well next year. So like, yeah, come holler at your boy. You can follow me, JT Barrett, TFB on Twitter. I don't tweet as much. And I'm not saying that X word because that ain't no real shit. I don't tweet as much. But I want to, especially starting next year, I'm really gonna start putting a lot of my highlights out, and things like that, like on Twitter and on Instagram. So you can come follow me on Twitter at JT Barrett CFB.
All right, all right. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's on Twitter at Alex Goodwin TSM. That's
Which
T
is
as in
wild,
tacos.
The TSM, I don't even think people I think we talked about this last time, people don't even
Yeah, we
understand,
did.
like, no,
People
it
don't
don't
even
even
know.
know, but it's like
People don't
Takeover
even know
Sports Media, which is a media company that I started, like, in, like, 2018.
Yes, yes. I got real good at this real fast.
Real fast. Real
Man,
fast.
real fast. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I tell people this all the time. You ain't like when I have students, they're like, man, how can you just talk like this on end? Right. I said I did radio in college. And then after that, when I was first started grad school, I did 2 hours of radio 5 days a week. You find things to talk about, you make a couple of bullet points, and then you go. And that's what we
Yep,
did. But
that's what we
it's
did.
time for but it's time for us to go as well. So you guys can follow me on Twitter, Alex Goodwin TSM. That's T as in tacos, S as in shiesty, M as in Michigan. Again, Alex Goodwin TSM, T as in tacos, S as in shiesty, M as in Michigan. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, we appreciate you guys for listening. For JT Barrett, my name is Alex Goodwin. This has been the Game Plan Podcast. We will catch you guys next time. Take it easy.